This forum does not reflect the official opinion of the Corn Mafia Guild. Rather, it serves as a platform for members and guests to express their individual perspectives and opinions. We hope to create an environment where a variety of topics and conversations can take place, ultimately enriching the experience of our members and guests. We value and respect diverse opinions, and we encourage all to engage in respectful discourse.
Happy Wednesday, Fryler.
Happy Wednesday, Stein. How are you today?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. Today is a nice day.
That's good.
Because
is it a nice day out there? Is it beautiful and sunny?
Outside it's not nice, but inside is nice.
Well, that's good. It's actually really sunny here today, so I'm really ecstatic for that.
Well, good.
Yeah. Plus, it's always a nice morning when I get to start out with a phone call with you and Seven, so that's nice.
Oh, it was a good one. Yeah, we talked about a few.
Yeah,
things.
Definitely. We ended up talking so much, we ended up not doing the technical side of stuff that we were going to do, but I'm fine with that.
Yeah, well, we got sidetracked. That's what happens.
Well,
sometimes.
And honestly, I'd already spent most of the morning trying to do it, and I was just already frustrated. I'm like, I would rather talk with you guys than try to troubleshoot this anymore. So it was good.
Man. Well,
it fits perfectly in line with today's topic, which is, mental health and, staying positive.
That's right.
So,
got to stay positive, man. It's hard. It's a hard thing to do. And not all the time you need to do it. I mean, it's impossible to stay positive. After a while, it's like too much sugar in your coffee. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I can't
Of
stay
course,
positive
you can't
all the
just
time.
live on an infinite high note, unfortunately.
No. It's like taking, too much of the good stuff. After a while, it just becomes normal, So because we had Moody passed away, so there was a Twitter space about that, and that I did not stay for that. I'll tell you why right now. I came in at about the time Josh from Late Game Crypto was talking. It was very sad, and I myself have always had mental health problems like depression, that comes that started when I was very young. So one of the ways I cope with stuff like that is I'm in my 50s now, and it still affects me. And it always has been with me. It's like a nice coat that you wish would be better to you, but it's not. It's just you're always wearing it. So the thing is, I had left the Twitter space because I have to stay away from things that make me sad, I guess, instead of going straight on with it. I've learned that that can really switch my mental state. People are like, oh, you got to fight through it, and to make you stronger. Well, sometimes it doesn't. It just brings me down into a place where it's hard for me to come back from. So I stay away from things that tend to make me sad, just like people would stay away from people who want to get in fights with you. You just want to stay away from that because it's not healthy. So,
I got you, man. Yeah, I mean, at least you know that about yourself, and you can, make that decision.
Yeah, well, it took me a long time to learn that, and now I don't spend time around people that bring me down. I have discontinued friendships with people who started to bring me down and things like that. I'm just like, I can't be around you. There's no way I can be around you. And
that's a good skill to have, man. A lot of people, they'll keep those old friends around. It's tough, to get rid of the wrong friends so you can meet the right friends sometimes. So yeah, I totally get that. But I really enjoyed what Josh had to say. I know it was tough, man. I'm not going to lie. I was also just, I felt like I was prepared to speak and, be there for everyone. And then listening to Josh's words and then also Juju and stuff. I mean, I'm an empath and I really like Moody. And his passing was tough on everyone, and just hearing their words just really kind of brought it all down for me. So I can see how it would have that effect on you.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't. I don't want people to say, "Oh, that's disrespectful for me," but I don't want to get into to the passing of Moody, because that's already been talked and gone over, and I don't want this space. I want this to be a more positive space today, to try to have people understand that things happen, but I want people to understand that we're here, in this metaverse, which is we're not in it yet, but I guess you could kind of think of Discord as a tiny little group or a large group of like-minded people. Some not so like-minded, but
I feel like we're pioneers on the Mayflower. You know what I mean? Like, we're not there yet, but we're all still on this journey together.
Right.
And it's gonna be tough today with the topic to not touch on the Moody thing, because of course that's going to be weighing heavy on, I think, everyone's hearts here. But like you said, to try to put the positive light on it, which was something I really commend Josh for doing as well, was really trying to see the positive and a really dark side of things. It's tough to always do, but one of the things that Moody's passing really highlighted for me, one of the positive things, was just how interconnected this community really is. And like you said, we're not even to the metaverse yet. This is just like a micro version of what it could be, and we're already so interconnected and building these really strong relationships. So I just think that that's really kind of beautiful, and I know I mentioned it to you when we talked before. Something that I was thinking about is just like, people always have this negative view of the metaverse. Like, of course, with everything, too much of a good thing could be a bad thing, and everything in moderation, right? But people always think like, oh, you're going to move into the metaverse and everyone's going to get really overweight and unhealthy, and they're going to get, bad vision from reality goggles and things like that. And there's all this negative stuff that comes with it. But I think they're ignoring the huge positives, which is like a way that you're able to forge relationships across vast distances so much easier today. In that space the other day that Sakura hosted for Moody's memorial, so to speak, we had people across how many different nations all come together for this one person to remember him, and that's not even counting his actual core family. So what a beautiful thing, to think about. So
Yeah,
that was one positive that it highlighted for me.
Yeah, that is a very positive thing, and the whole thing with this, communications now, it's kind of weird. I mean, because I know we have a lot of younger people, but I'm at the age where cell phones weren't even thought of, kind of thing. Computers weren't even in the home at that time. There was no internet and all that stuff. So, but now, like yesterday, I went to my doctor's, for my biannual checkup, and I was sitting in the lobby, and I'm chatting with Seven on my phone, and he's in England. So it's amazing how communications can bring people together, or technology brings people together like that. And I think that's why you got to look at it as a positive thing, because everybody's like, oh, technology's making people more antisocial. And I get that. I get that in the real world sense, like, not being one-on-one with a real person. But that's hard to do for some people. Some people can be outgoing inside a technology like this and be open, but out in the real world, they may have problems with that. So that can bring mental health problems on to people.
You're right. It's kind of a dual-edged sword like that, huh? If it's so much easier to make these connections online, some people stop forging them in real life, right? That's kind of what you're saying?
Well, what if the person has problems in real life where they cannot meet people, or are not socially outgoing, excuse me, socially outgoing.
Yeah. So then it's
a positive, because you can be.
Yeah, it's a tool for them.
Right. You can be anybody you want to be in this, right? I mean, you can. I mean,
yeah, as we've seen in our own community.
Right. I mean, you could come up and say, you could be a superhero in this metaverse. You could come in here and say, oh, yeah, my name is Stein. Well, what do you do? Well, I rescue people in the daytime by swinging on a web. What? You crazy? No, I really do. But it's all private. So before we get really going into this, and before we bring up anybody who wants to talk, there's not too many people in here today. I think it's kind of a down subject. So I think the subject is a little sad, but it's not. It wasn't supposed to be that way. Plus, I didn't put it in the Discord. If somebody wants to go ahead and throw this in our Discord, just put it in general at everyone. That would be great. We are only going to run this for an hour today on this subject. We had talked about this pre-show, and we don't want to get into a 90-minute show about this, and so we're gonna keep it a little short. And I think that's a good thing today. We can make it quick and talk about what we want to do, and it's already 10 minutes in, and so let's pull up our first person. And I see who's this what's his name? Scruffy.
As long as it's not his evil twin Scruffier.
Scruffy.
I haven't seen it yet. I've been busy this morning, but I can't wait to watch our little substitute Kopi Cafe for the week. And I hope we get an Empire Espresso, not to put any pressure on anyone.
Yeah, what's going on?
Well, I want to see an Empire Espresso too, but she's got to have a Kopi Cafe to recap. So
well, maybe she can do a Scruffy Cafe.
Oh, how
recap.
sick would that be? Oh,
it would be like your favorite crossover cartoon as a kid. It'd be like, what?
Yeah, I love it. What? Wait. The A-Team is helping out Scooby-Doo. What's going on here?
Right? No. Oh, man. Mind blown. That little buggy.
About, fool?
Hi, G-Scoob. Oh, my God. That's Mr. T over there.
Oh, my God.
That was a really good Shaggy, actually. And I love Scooby-Doo, so.
Thanks, man.
I thought it sounded more like Casey Kasem to me, but.
Well, I'm not sure what you're talking about. But on this week's Weekly Top 40, we've got a man calling in who's what?
Sorry? Casey Kasem did Scooby-Doo, right? Wasn't he one of the...
Yes, he did. Yeah. He did Shaggy's voice, actually. Yeah.
So, yeah. When you were doing Shaggy, it sounded like Casey Kasem. So you're doing good. You're doing good.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
You got 2 impersonations in one on that one.
Yeah. So, I got Jim Carrey doing Joe Pesci doing Jim Carrey.
Right. Yeah, there you
go. No, I wanted to just touch on a couple of things you had mentioned in there about, the double-edged sword of in real life and versus, great points. It allows some people to connect, especially connect over great distances. I've met so many great people from other countries. And that really helps, if you're having a rough day, oftentimes I'll pop into Corn General or the Corn Mafia server, and I'll just see what people are talking about, and they'll always ask me, hey, how's your day going? And I'm like, a little rough. This happened, that happened, blah, blah, blah. And they're all like, oh man, well, I hope it gets better. And then, they'll start talking about something else, and I'll kind of get distracted from whatever it was. And I'll get off, maybe sometimes 10 minutes later, sometimes an hour later. And I just feel better. And so, that's the good side of it. But I think it's important for people to have balance, right? I think that especially when this game comes out, it's going to be real easy to get in 10, 12, 14-hour gaming sessions. And the real world just kind of is out there going on. And you look up and all of a sudden it's, 3 or 4 a.m. and then you got to go to sleep, and people have jobs and they go do that all day, then they come home and game. So I think balance is always important. You have to make an effort sometimes to go out and do things, and I'll have buddies sometimes and they'll say, hey man, you want to go grab a drink or this and that? And, in the past I'm like, I don't know, man, I got this other thing, or I was going to play this game. I've tried to make it a point, again, just for my own social well-being, to anytime someone here in real life, any of my buddies or any of my friends ask me to go do something, or say, hey man, can you come help, do this or that or whatever. Anything that gets me out of the house, I try to do that. So, just a few tips for other people. These are things that worked for me. Maybe they work for you. Maybe they don't. I don't know, but just kind of wanted to throw that out there.
That's a really great point. Like, and I've said in the last, couple of these, I took a break. I took a break from being on Discord, like sitting at my computer. This is what I had to do. I was sitting at my computer most of the day because I was indoors because I have to. And so I was getting to that point where I was just like, I decided to take a break right after I was in a VC with a couple of people, and I was just so negative about everything. I caught myself, and then I was like, the next day I was like, God, I have to take a break. I have to take a break for my own mental health, because I caught myself being so negative about things that I was loving just months ago, And I was just like, man, that's not how I really am. I'm not really negative so much about this. I'm just being negative because I'm over working my brain with the same stuff every day, So that's why I took a break, and I'm starting to do better. I'm working on, like I said, I'm working on my projects and things like that. They're taking a little bit longer. But I am communicating more with other people. I've seen a few friends, they've come by, and I've gone out and spent an hour or two with some friends, and, that's making me feel better. And, Discord and meeting everybody in the Corn Mafia, that's what made me feel really good. And then when I was just like, man, this really sucks, that's when you got to take a break, because it is good, but you can't see it anymore because you're too close to it. It's not pretty anymore. It's like, that's a beautiful building until you get right up close to it, and then you're looking inside the grains of the concrete, and you're like, this ain't pretty. So,
well, it's like Freiler said, too much of anything is not a good thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get back onto that positive aspect because I love Cornucopias and Corn Mafia Guild and stuff, and I love the people in it. So I had to step back just for a month or so, just to, because I don't want to get to that point where I don't want to get to that point where I say, screw this, fuck this, I quit. Because I've done that so many times in my life, and I'm sure a lot of people have done that with things in their life, or maybe it's just me where you've overdone it.
No, it's not just you, brother. It's not. I've had several things that I get so passionate about it, and I go so hard into it. The last game I played, I was that way. And I just played it like all the time, in my spare time, on my breaks, at my lunch, whatever. And it got to the point to where it wasn't fun anymore. It was more like work than fun. And so you are not alone, sir. You are absolutely not alone. And trust me, when I started following this project, I worried about that. And I said, look, man, this thing has so much potential that I am going to, I'm going to limit. You guys know I'm going to be doing streaming and stuff like that. In the beginning, I wanted to stream like 5-6 days a week, and Seven and I talked about this, quite a while back. And I made a decision, shortly after that. I'm like, nope. You know what? I'm only going to stream like 3 days a week. Okay, maybe I'll do some special stuff here and there, but I'm going to limit my engagement so that I don't get burnt out on it, because I do the same thing as you.
Yeah, it's that's it. It's all or nothing for me, and I guess Seven's a good sounding board, because when we started 2-week links, we were like, oh, we could do it every week and all this stuff, and then I was thinking, I said, if we start doing that, it's going to be a lot more work, and then we're going to get burned out really quickly, like super quickly, because people just, oh, you get a guest on, but it's not just get a guest on. You got to find a guest and you got to do a little preparation and stuff like that. But if you were to do it every week, then it would be like, we got to do this, and it gets like that with Twitter, when we were doing the Twitter spaces like a couple of weeks ago, I was just and we're only in 13, 14 episodes or something like that. But I was talking with Fryland. I was like, man, I don't know what to talk about. So let's just do like an AMA and just go ahead and talk about whatever, because coming up with a subject sometimes can be difficult, So,
and honestly, I think that's going to get easier as they release things in the game. There's going to be things that are, new releases that are coming out that people will want to talk about, and new features to the game and stuff like that. So I think that it's just like me doing content sometimes. I hadn't put out a video in a week or two, and I'm going, man, I really should do a video, but there hadn't been a whole lot new. And so guess what? During those times, I just say, nope, I'm just going to wait until I feel good about doing something. That's the other thing. When I'm doing my videos, that's part of the reason I love putting a little extra humor in there, is to keep spirits up, because I realize sometimes this can be kind of a grind. I mean, it's not a grind in the sense that we like what we're doing. But it's like you get so excited, you come in, you think of all this potential, and then you just kind of wait and you wait and you wait, and then you get a little nugget, maybe they come out with a video, or you get to, go to CNFT Con and play a little bit. And that gets you all, excited again for a little bit. And then it's like, okay, win game. And it wears on people. I know that. And so again, that's one of the reasons. And Seven's, his music videos are freaking hysterical as well. I love those. Josh came on one of my streams a while back, dude, and just a super funny guy, just in regular person. Sometimes his videos don't necessarily show it. He gets out some great info. But like on live streams and stuff like that, I remember somebody commenting, I can't remember if it was my YouTube stream or on Discord, but they're like, I'm kind of surprised. He's actually a pretty funny guy. So I think all of us out there, we got to be careful to not take things too seriously. Right. And it's hard because we got like finances woven in here and this and that. But every once in a while, I think we've got to step back and just look and go, you know what? It's a freaking game, man. This is fun. This is supposed to be fun. Let's have fun with it.
Yeah.
That's such great advice, especially when that speaks right to me, especially when you talk about creating content, and sometimes you feel the push to put something out, even if there's not necessarily something that you want to speak on. And I think those are the times where I stress the most over my content, and then it ends up not being a great experience creating that content. And then that pushes me more into that realm of work than doing it for fun. And then I got to remember sometimes, like you said, like, just give yourself some slack. This is supposed to be, fun. I'm not doing this I'm not a corporation. I'm not a business yet or anything. So why did I start doing this in the first place? I didn't do it to stress myself out. I did it for other reasons that I'm not going to get into in this moment. But yeah, so thank you for that. That's great advice to just take it easy. And I needed to hear that now because it's been over a month since I put out a video, but yeah. I'm just getting some new sound equipment and stuff set up. So hopefully I'll be back to it soon. But it's really tough, especially like you said, when it's crypto winter and there's not a lot going on. And especially with our favorite big project, this is like the longest lull we've had in cornucopias, with like no big news events, no mints, no, not a lot to go on besides just our regular how you doings in the Discord. So,
right.
Yeah, it's a tough period right now.
Real quick. I've done lots of research on doing, YouTube videos and this and that. And most of them say, look, if you're in that period, instead of forcing making something, just wait. I know you're thinking about the YouTube algorithm and all that stuff, but even on your channel, if people are putting out subpar content and it's, just kind of fluff or there's not really anything there, they start getting used to, oh, well, maybe I can skip this or maybe I can skip that.
They're just going to tune you out.
So yeah, again, my advice, I'm not telling you how to live your life, but My advice is just wait till you got something to say, or wait till you got an idea, or wait till whatever.
Good advice. Wait till inspiration strikes, huh?
Yeah, man. You have to. Kaz, you wanted to come up and speak? You have anything to say today, Kaz?
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for having me.
What's up,
Yeah,
bro?
so I don't know if hey, what's up, man? I don't know if if I should be speaking about mental health because I'm pretty sure I'm crazy, but um, no, I was gonna say,
I was just gonna
what?
say that means you're an expert on it, dude.
Yeah, but no, I was gonna say, I mean, like one thing I've noticed about myself is, when I'm scrolling Twitter, there's just so many projects, so many shiny objects, so many things that if I had the money, I'd probably get involved. And it creates this like tremendous sense of FOMO. And pretty recently, I've been learning to let that go because it causes so much anxiety. Like I'm going to miss out on the next big thing or whatever. And I just come back to remember your long-term hold, right? Your cornucopias, NFTs and things like that. Like your long-term look is what I've come back to after, I don't know, 2.5 years in crypto now, just getting beat up by everything that happens and learning all the same hard lessons everybody else has been learning along the way. And I think that it's good to go through all of that, right? It sucks when you're going through it because you're getting beat up and it's I've got a kid about to go to college, right? So I'm super focused on money and investments and trying to be in a good place so that I can afford his tuition and support him for all of that. Anybody in the US, we know how expensive college is. It's ridiculous, right? And it's just such a giant thing you have to be ready for and so forth. So I mean, for me personally, I stay informed, but I don't obsess over things anymore like I used to. I don't have that. I mean, that FOMO starts coming up and I'm like, hey, man, you remember what you keep telling yourself. You've got a wonderful long-term portfolio with one thing right now. And sure, there's there's lots of other things I could be involved in, but I'm doing okay. I'm not doing as poorly as I feel like I might be doing. And so I keep up to date with what's going on, but I'm not letting it consume me anymore like it used to. There's just so much information out there now that in order to try to catch all of it and make sense of all, you'll drive yourself nuts, man. So it's good to stay in your lane, I guess, so to speak, stay focused on what it is that got you excited, even if it was a year ago or a year and a half. Stay focused and keep reminding yourself that, at least I've got this going for me. I found cornucopias early and I feel lucky about that. And me, I'm sure I've missed 1,000 things that would have made me a lot of money, and that's okay too, right? Because it's not worth just going around and around in your head and thinking, man, I missed out on that. And if I could go back in time, I would have done this. And you just start driving yourself crazy with those types of thoughts. So learn to let it go and just know that you're going to be all right one way or the other.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so wise, man. I think FOMO is, like the silent killer in this space. Everyone's so afraid to miss out on opportunity. I feel it all the time. And, that's just really great advice because I do the same mental exercise where I just remind myself about the things that I didn't miss instead of trying to focus on the ones that I might have missed or I did miss, because you're not going to catch 100% of these wins, but to have even one in your bag is better than some people are doing, right? So, focus on what you do got and not what you don't got. But that was really great advice, man. I feel FOMO all the time.
I think a lot of problems that arise now is since most of us are human with a cybernetic implant in our hand, the problem is, I don't know if anybody else does this. I think probably a lot of people do this, but even in my own house, like if I have to go down to the basement, I bring my goddamn phone with me. Like it's one floor above me, but I have to have it with me so I don't miss out on something. I don't want to miss that text. I don't want to miss that call. And that becomes a big thing I think that's why I turned off most of my notifications on my phone. And if you don't do that, you should, especially for like Twitter and things like that. So I turn off a lot of notifications. But does anybody else in this space like, oh, I'm going into the next room. Well, let me bring my phone. What the hell do I need to bring my phone for when I'm going? I'm going out to the kitchen to make dinner. Well, I better make sure I have my phone. It's a silly thing. It's silly. It's a horrible appendage that we're working with now. Yeah, an all-consuming appendage that if you don't give it, that you're waiting for its attention. Does anybody else have that problem, or is it just me?
I've been doing a lot better on that front, actually. My phone keeps telling me each week that I spend less and less time on it. But yeah, during the bull run, I mean, absolutely. When I feel like I have to watch the price of crypto every single second because stuff is going crazy all the time and I might miss the next opportunity. And then I looked away for 1 second. What the hell? Oh, it just spiked. And you're like, oh, man. Yeah. Totally, I get that.
Yeah, man.
But I have been doing better. I'm making a conscious effort.
I think technology. I wish I actually could. Now, the problem with what I actually could do, I would like to do a technology rehabilitation, almost like when you're addicted to drugs or something, you have to get away from them. You have to go cold turkey a lot of times. So I wish I could do that with technology, but I can't because it's one of those things now. It is not a drug. It is more of an implant on my body, being like, oh, I got this implant now. I would love to get away from it, but I can't because there is things that I need and things that need to happen or things that I would need to answer the phone for.
So yeah, it's like a dual-edged sword in that sense again, because it very much is like a drug, the way it affects your brain. They've done studies on like children and stuff using screens and stuff, and it lights up like the same neurons and receptors in your brains that cocaine does, so it is very much like a drug in the way that it affects you. And then you also pair it with the fact that it has real life utility. Like I need my phone, right, to do business, to live in this society, to be able to get along in this modern world. I have to have it. And then It's also a drug, so it's like, man.
Yeah, but let's face it here. People did survive before phones. And so if you need to take an hour a day or whatever and just unplug and leave your phone in the other room, I mean, I'm not saying turn it off, but or maybe you do even turn it off. Honestly, there are times at night where I just essentially go set my phone on the charger for an hour or two. And I'm like, you know what? There may be important things. There very well may be, but they can wait. Yeah. I mean, I hear you though, because I feel that same need. My brother used to call cell phones dog chains. He's like, man, I'm chained to that phone. I can't get away with it. People keep pinging me all day and every day. And I used to kind of laugh at it. And more recently, I've come to have times where I feel that way. And so again, I think it's important, whether you're stepping away from your computer or your phone or your tablet or whatever, go outside. You guys hear me out in the backyard all the time, right? And I just sit there and I'm just looking at nature. Maybe you don't have that, where you're at, but go to a park, go to some place where you can, just be away from the things of man kind of. And it really, I feel so much better after I do that.
Well, I can see the nature here on my security cameras. So that's.
I'm not sure that counts, man. I like where your head's at, but I'm not sure that counts. If you're using technology to view nature, it's iffy.
I know, right? That's it. I don't think that's working, but yeah, I think like at night, I made sure that my phone, I have an iPhone, so I have the focus mode where I think a lot of phones have this, where it shuts off at a certain time and doesn't turn on to a certain time.
Yep. Do not disturb on Android devices, same thing.
But then I find when I wake up to do something early in the morning before I I don't sleep 8 hours. I get up and then do a few things and go back to bed. Then I'm always, checking things on my phone, But I make sure that it doesn't carry over where I'm staying back awake and not going back to sleep, So I don't know. I don't know about that one.
Well,
I don't know about
how sad
releasing
is
my
this,
phone.
man?
It's such a drug. I don't even think it's a drug anymore. I think it's just part of my body because I don't think I could possibly do anything. I can do stuff without it, but it's always around. And you feel really. How many times have you gone in the car and drove away from your house and turned around because you forgot your goddamn phone? I mean, you know what I'm saying? My friend came to visit from Ohio, and it was a 12-hour drive, and he drove 2 hours towards me and then turned around and went back home because he forgot his phone. And he forgot it because he had no way of getting in touch with me, and he didn't know. All the information was in his phone, but he didn't know. He just got in the car and started driving, and he was 2 hours.
Would he just have like a paper map? How was he going to get to your house?
No, it was on his phone, but he knew the highway that he had to take.
Oh, so he's like, oh, I'll check it later.
Yeah, it's just I get on this highway, and then I know, once I get into New York, then I'll just check on my phone. He got all the way to New York, and then had to turn around because he went to look at his phone to find out the rest of the directions, and he was like, shit. I don't even know. I don't even have his phone number because it's in my phone. I don't remember phone numbers anymore. I don't know anybody's phone number. I just know my own, so I can give it out to people. It was such a. I was like, man, you showed up here awful late. Yeah, I had to drive all the way back to Cleveland, and then I was already in New York. So it's like, man, that sucks. That sucks. Phone technology, mental health. That's what I should have said. Technology and mental health. Staying positive. Well, it's staying positive in Metaverse.
Well, I think another way to stay positive, and again, these are just tips that work for me. Everybody's going to be different, so I'm not trying to impose any of this on anybody. But, I know there's some of us that when we hop in a VC or when we're communicating with people, most of us just type in Discord, right? And you're looking at text all day. I find it helpful when I actually hop on there. I can't tell you how much it helps me, Stein, when we hop on a call or when you're in a VC or whatever, and you can actually see another person's face. Let's not discount how much the value of that is. And that's why I do my best. I don't always do that in VCs. Sometimes I'm unpresentable, but I really like when, KB sometimes has his little Friday VCs and we might have 5 or 6 people in there. It gives you something else to look at. It makes you feel like you're connecting more with those people. So, if anybody's ever feeling down or whatever, give it a shot. Try, turn on your cam. It may be a little daunting at first or whatever, but turn on your cam, go in there, look at other people that have their camera turned on, because it's just a little bit closer to being around people in real life.
Yeah. Well, I know that when you and I do private VCs, we always turn on our or private DMs, whatever, when we turn on our cameras and stuff. And I think you can probably gather that I don't get out too much because of my situation that you know about here. I take care of somebody. So
I can completely identify. As you know, up until about 6 months or 5 months ago, I was in the same situation as you are, sir.
But I notice you can probably guess that when I get on, I don't want to get off. I start talking about stuff, and I know you're like, oh boy, this has gone way out of the context of what we were actually talking about, because I get lonely. That's the thing. You get lonely, and it's good to talk with people. So I'm lucky. I have every morning when I wake up, when I wake up to check on my mother and things like that, I get up and it's like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and I always text Seven because I know he's awake, and he always says good morning and things like that. And then I go back to sleep just because I need to talk with somebody. I need to communicate with people, and I can't always do that. And when people say, oh, you don't work, you're retired. But yeah, but I don't work and retire, and I'm retired, but I'm taking care of somebody. So it gets hard, and you want to communicate with people, and that's the great thing about being able to voice chat and things like that. And you get into voice chats with people because you're lonely, or you want to talk with people, and then you get 3 people in there that don't want to talk, and they keep their mics muted, and then I'm just sitting there talking. And I'm just like, all right, I'm shutting this VC down because it's just me talking to 3 people who are not talking back. So, I just.
Well, and I think these spaces that you guys do is great too. I'll let Freiler get to his point here real quick. I didn't mean to step on you, but
oh no, you're good. You're good.
You guys have an outlet, and everybody has these things available to them now. If they're wanting to talk and just spin up a space and invite some people, or start a VC, or any of those things. And I know it's tough because sometimes, people don't want to talk, but especially if you've got something in your mind, I think people are always willing to listen.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you got a community like this. And to just kind of piggyback off what you were saying, Scruffy, I just think that, like we already mentioned, that with the advancements in technology, you get connections all over the world. But I think with the advancement of the metaverse, we're just strengthening those connections in so many ways, because it's one thing to read text, and know that there's somebody on the other side of it speaking to you, but a lot is lost through just text, and so you gain even more when you get that voice in there, and then even more so when you get faces and facial expressions, and you really get to know, a genuine take on a person is what it feels like. And then in the metaverse, we're also combining like interests, like activities. We're all coming together in these groups and stuff. So there's so many more ways to connect with each other than just reaching out, so, and it's only going to get even more so.
I was going to say, wait till we get facial mapping and the haptic feedback suits and things like that like they have in the movies. It'll be really realistic.
Right. Yeah, that'll be crazy. I just watched Ready Player One for the first time the other day.
Oh, I just rewatched it the other day.
Too.
Yeah.
I did too.
That's a great movie.
It was really good. Yeah, I watched it with my son for the first time like 3 days ago.
I don't know if you guys.
It's a good movie.
Have you guys heard of Key and Peele? The
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, they did a parody of one guy's at his house and the other guy's at his house, and they're texting each other. I don't know if you've seen it, but it was a short skit, and one guy's all amped up, and he's like, "Yeah, well, hey, what's going on?" He's texting, and the other guy said, texting back, because they're showing how their inflections are while they're typing, and then one of them gets really pissed. And it's so fun to watch because it happens in real life. He's like, "Yo, what are you doing?" "Yeah, no, not much. Just, whatever." And the other guy's reading it, "Not much. Whatever." And he's just, and the whole skit, I'll have to find that skit and put it on Discord and the Corn Mafia, because it is hilarious how 2 people can talk and without inflections, how they can get what they're saying completely wrong. So I don't know if that I made any sense with that, but when you were talking about
of course we've all been there, Stein. 100%. Yeah,
it's just like, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. But I like these Twitter Spaces. These Twitter Spaces make me feel good. That's why when I took my break, I made sure that I stayed in the Twitter Space for to talk and meet people.
Well, something just improved my mental health. They just delivered my new video card, so I'm excited.
Ooh, what'd you get?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
You get the 40 series?
I did.
You did.
I got a 4080 for like $265 off.
Nice.
Wow, nice, dude.
Yeah.
Nice. I haven't set
That's
my
awesome.
stuff up. I'm excited too. I have a brand new iMac Studio, and I just bought a BenQ production monitor, I guess, and they're just sitting in the other room, and I'm excited to have them.
Very nice.
But I can't put them up.
Man,
It's always fun to get technology, isn't it?
I was
Retail
going to say
therapy,
that's
right?
the other thing that helps your mental health. Just go buy a bunch of fun crap.
It does.
Yeah.
It only helps
If
for
you
so
can,
long.
absolutely.
It only helps for so. Everybody says, don't buy stuff to make yourself happy. Well, yeah, it makes you. It gives you that. It gives you that immediate happiness. But if you use it and it brings happiness, and buy it. But just don't buy stuff to buy stuff, because we've all made that. Oh, this is going to make me happy. I really need this, and it doesn't make you happy.
It does for like 5 minutes. Yep.
Yeah.
Nope. 1000% agree. This is actually so I can create more and better content, so I can make others happy.
Yeah.
Which makes me happy.
Justification at its finest.
Exactly. That's why everybody gets. Why are you buying all that stuff? Because it makes me happy. it makes me happy. But then again, how many of us have bins out in our garage or in our basement full of old technology? Maybe it's
old stuff that used to make us happy,
right? And I'm looking at this stuff. I had put some stuff out in the garage in a bin, and then I saw it on eBay. And it's like, oh, I got that. It's worth a lot of money. I go out and get it, but over the years of it getting hot and frozen, it didn't work anymore. I had one of those Logitech G10, whatever, those one-handed macro boards. And I was like, oh, people are getting like $100 for those. I could just go sell it on eBay. And I plugged it in. That thing is dead. Doesn't even turn on. And it was working fine when I threw it out in the garage. I never used it. This is going to help my gaming. Never used it. Never used the damn thing. Oh, shit. Anybody else want to come up and talk today? We got about 15 minutes left. If anybody else has any warm and fuzzy things to say about mental health and staying positive.
Josh, do you want to defend yourself against all these boring allegations?
No, Josh is fine. Josh, he's listening.
Hey, I didn't say he was boring. I said that he had great information. I just said he's actually even funnier than in his regular videos.
Well, that's what
you said. One of your commenters was like, "Oh, he's actually funny." And what I hear when you say that is that they didn't think he was. And
right.
Stein said something similar last time, and I know it's not how he meant it, but I just kind of laughed inside, and he was like,
when Seven and I. When Seven and I wanted to put him on 2-week links, we were like, I don't know, he's kind of dry, because you just see him from his YouTube videos, and he's being serious because he's.
I'm gonna bring him up right now to defend himself.
Well, no, but he's talking about finances, and he's getting very, very deep. So you're thinking, he's probably dry. He probably has no sense of humor. He's a college graduate. He's probably, But then you get him on the show, and we were talking before and after the show, and he's funny as fuck.
I was going to say, it's kind of like, let's say somebody walked up to you and said, hey, who's a really funny guy? Tom Brokaw. He was super successful, but, it's just like right? He was delivering the news. He was telling you, information that you needed to know. And he wasn't always, all hamming it up and slapstick like some other jackholes we know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You don't really know anybody because you see them online. You think you think.
But that's why I'm glad you have the 2-week link things where you guys can, dive into a little bit more behind the scenes of what people don't always see. And, that's why I enjoy having, people stream live with me, because you get to see them in their natural habitat. And I can't remember who. Oh yeah, Jude, also very funny guy. I got to meet him at CNFTCon, and we hung out. And he's going to start doing some of that stuff. So absolutely love Josh's videos. Super informative. He does that 3D chess thinking, and so. I don't want to discount. You guys all go check out his channel. He's got some great stuff.
He's up here now. We pulled him up, so he's going to have to talk.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this on 2-week links. I don't remember if it was live or if it was after we got done with it. But I did some stand-up comedy back in the day. I'm in love with making people laugh. I think that's and it's a big part of mental health too. Is bringing joy to people's lives and laughing about things that just life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hey, where'd you do stand up at? I used to be part of an improv comedy group. Did you literally go out and do open mic nights and stuff? Because that's a different, when you're up there by yourself, I got to give you credit, man. That takes balls.
I did both. So I started with a little stand-up comedy just on it might have been a dare or something, just something that somebody had suggested, and I just jumped up and did it for some kind of talent show or something. And then my senior year of high school, I did improv comedy with my high school's improv team. So yeah, I've been around the block in like the comedy world a little bit, but mostly just as a hobby. It was never anything that I like seriously pursued more than doing it a few times. But yeah, for a few years there, that was something that I was doing pretty regularly.
That's
See,
awesome.
that's
I always
another-
wanted to do that. I never was able to get the courage up to do that because I enjoy trying to make people laugh. My personality is like that. I just can't go around without snapping on somebody or busting somebody's chops. So,
Well, and I think that's another good point for mental health is number one, find a hobby, find something outside of cornucopias and crypto and things like that. Something that you like to do. It doesn't matter. It can be photography or painting or music or whatever. And say, look, I'm going to do an hour a week or 2 hours or whatever you want. And the other thing and this is kind of just general life advice, but I think it helps with mental health as well. You know what? Do something every now and then that scares you, right? Get out of your comfort zone. Something that you've been, I'm kind of on the edge. I kind of want to do it. I'm not sure. I'm a little, I've got some trepidation, but doing that, it expands your horizons. One. Two, oftentimes you look back and you're like, man, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought.
yeah.
And three, you find new things. You're like, man, I wasn't sure about this, but I really, really like that. And those can go a long way towards mental health as well.
Yeah. And I want to say, we're getting down to 9 minutes. It's a short show today. I want to.
Did you just say it's a shit show today?
It's a shit short show today.
That too. Yeah, both.
Stop! You're both right.
I just want to say, listen, I've dealt with mental health problems my whole life, and I've had many friends. I will say many, and part of my close family knit, my sister and stuff, pass away from either neglecting themselves and overindulging in drugs and alcohol to just giving up. So I just want to say, keep, if you get to that point, or if you're thinking about that constantly, where that's something that you're having problems with, whether it's drugs or alcohol or just mental health and suicidal thoughts and tendencies and things like that, to reach out to somebody, because a lot of times when you're thinking about stuff like that, it's a cry for help in your own brain, and you want some other people to notice, but other people don't notice things all the time because they're too caught up in their own problems. But there are people out there in every country that works with mental health. And don't be afraid to contact somebody to talk. And it's much easier now. You can call people or talk with people online than it used to be when I was younger. When you were younger and had mental health problems, they wanted you to go see a professional psychiatrist and get a doctor's note and all that stuff. And now you don't have to do that. And you don't have to be afraid to talk to people. And don't be afraid of your mental health problem, because more people have these problems now in the world, probably due to the large population and the knowing of it, due to technology that we have all these studies and people can grab all this information. But don't be afraid to reach out to somebody or a professional and actually tell them that you're having these problems. Don't try to have people try to figure out that you're sad or that you're melancholy. Or ennui, depending on where you are from in the world. So,
yeah,
you
great points. And not only that, remember, there's lots of different solutions, right? If you feel like you just want to talk to somebody else in the community, there are those of us that are always have an open door and again, I will volunteer. I don't know if anybody wants my crazy minded thinking, but it's always here if you want it. And there are also lots of free programs out there where you don't have to pay a dime to talk to certified professionals. They do this, for free as a service to the community. There's internet searches. You can do a teledoc where it's a real licensed professional. So if you're ever having problems or anything like that and you feel you need that, and if you don't know where to look, ask somebody, because there's a lot more out there than there used to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm, like I said, I'm past 55 years old, so I've learned how to cope with it, and it's hard, but I know my breaking points and things like that. So if you're younger, you don't have that knowledge of what your mind is thinking and what your mind is doing. You may do some things that you can't come back from, or some things that will hurt other people or damage other people. So just look out for yourself and contact people and be in touch with people. And if you're having these problems, I'm always here. I'm usually always here on Discord. If I'm taking a little vacation, but if you're having a problem, you can DM me or just tag me in a post, tag me in a mental health. I'm always happy to talk to anybody. I'm not a trained person, psychiatrist or psychologist or anything like that, but I'm here, as Scruffy said for himself. I'm here to listen to anybody's problems and maybe give you some advice, or good advice, or I hope, or maybe point you in the right direction of somebody that can do the advice better than myself. Because I don't want to make I don't want people to think that I know everything and can bring you out of a bad spot in your life. That's not what I was saying. So, but we are getting
Just
down.
to
Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
real quick, I was just going to say, just to bring this thing full circle and bring it back to comedy, and it's a powerful medium, I think, that can impact people's lives. There's a couple of ones in particular that I tend to recommend people that are just so relatable and try to do something, real with their platforms. Taylor Tomlinson is somebody that I'm a big fan of. I'm actually going to go see her live. She speaks very openly about her mental health issues, and helps you to realize that there's some normalcy with a lot of these struggles. Bo Burnham is something that somebody that I often go to a lot too, who's very open about his own struggles and stuff. And just yesterday, I had watched the new special by dang it, what's his name? The guy that played Peter Porker in the Into the Spider-Verse movie.
Not Bill Burr.
John Mulaney.
John Mulaney. Oh God, I love him. He's hilarious.
He just came out with a special. I think it went live on Netflix yesterday, and I watched it right away because I'm a huge fan of him. And he talked about his struggles in mental health and struggles with drugs and interventions, and what that journey looked like, and it was hysterical.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, go check that out. There are people that talk about real struggles in their platforms.
Well, you can't be a comedian unless you have a knowledge of the human mind. I don't think.
True story. Yep.
But guys, we're running up here on the time, so I'm going to say, Fryler, do you have any last words?
Yeah, thanks. I just want to thank everyone for showing up today. As usual, all of you guys just being here together means everything to everyone. So thank you so much for showing up today.
Yeah, excellent. Scruff?
Yeah, I don't have anything to say. We said it all. We did a great job.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing to say. First time ever, I don't have anything to say. So, of course, I'm going to ramble on for about 10 more. No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say, he's speechless. You can tell.
He's going to ramble on for 10 minutes how he had nothing to say.
No, I really appreciate you guys doing this space. Honestly, I mean, it's something that nobody really loves to talk about, but I think it's needed and I think it's good. I think there was some great information for people out here. Stein, I know you're going to put it on YouTube later as always. And if anybody ever needs to go back to this, or if you guys are talking to anybody who's having problems, there's some super great advice in here. So yeah, just point them in the right direction.
Yeah, maybe if I can remember, I will put some health lines, at least for America. I don't know if I can get any for other countries, and I know a lot of people listening from other countries, but you can always find them. I'll put like a national helpline in the notes on YouTube. But I will be putting up on YouTube probably later this evening instead of right after the show, because I actually am doing stuff today outside of Discord. So that's going to make me
see. There you go.
I'm actually doing a few things today. So I want to thank everybody for showing up. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Scruff. Thanks, Fryler. And everybody else for coming in and enjoying the show. We'll see you all later.
This has been a Corn Mafia Guild Twitter space with your hosts, Stein and Fryler. Please join us every Wednesday at the same time, 5 p.m. UTC. We would like to thank all of our guests for their insights and input on today's topics. We also would like to thank all of you, our listeners, for taking time out from your busy day to join us. A full audio version of this conversation will be provided on our YouTube channel. You can find out more about the Corn Mafia Guild at our website, cornmafiaguild.io. So, until next week, thank you again and have a great day.